All right. So we're back. So this interview, Bonchan, was one of my biggest interviews. Yeah. So here's my memory of the Bonchan interview that created quite a few waves here. Well, in America, across Europe. I mean, everywhere really. But it made a lot of waves in Japan as well. So I was really excited at the prospect of interviewing Bonchan. I had no agenda, which, by the way, I got blamed for this interview by Capcom directly, being told that I was using leading questions and all this stuff, which is like mad. I even thought it was quite interesting though, because everybody starts to shape my interviews in some form or fashion usually. And it did make me think about, do I use leading questions or not? And I actually sort of came to the conclusion that I didn't. And as I went on, I wasn't trying to, unless there was an interesting story or whatever. But at that time, Street Fighter had launched badly and Capcom needed to know about it. And a lot of the players were ready to let them know about it. So anyway, I wanted to talk to Bonchan. I didn't know how to get to Bonchan. I had no idea. This is a very fuzzy memory of things, but eventually I got put through to this guy, the translator, who I think was Bonchan's friend, and I forget why. I can't remember if it was a university thing or something, I don't know. But Bonchan is also, extremely, was mysterious and interesting to me. I mean, he looks like Yakuza, right? He's a little bit taller than everyone else. He's like, looks like someone you don't want to cross. Ultimately he turned out to be a super nice guy. What I would call the people's champion, basically. Later went on to win Evo, I believe. And I got nothing but love and respect for that guy. But anyway, so managed to kind of figure it out. Where was it? It was NCR, yeah. So did this at NCR. The translator, I think, was his friend, so he was a bit relaxed. They were a little bit giggly together, being friends, which was kind of funny, and made me laugh a lot as well. I haven't actually gone back and watched his interview. I don't really like going back and watching these interviews. Like I said before, I don't like dissecting myself. But Bonchan came with an agenda. That became pretty clear in the interview. Like, he came to say something, right? I wasn't expecting that. There's been a few times that's happened, but not much. He came to say something, like he saw my platform as a place to say it, which was, when I think about it now, which is actually pretty cool that he thought that. And it worked. He was able to express what a lot of people wanted to express. It resonated with people, regardless of the actual words or even the debated translation of the words and so on. Interestingly, when we did this interview, when we finished the interview, I sat down, sort of, if I remember correctly, he was sitting down getting his gear together, and I sat down and I said, "Are you 100% sure you want me to put this out?" Because I never wanted any player to ever feel like they'd been misrepresented, caught off guard, taken advantage of, any of that stuff, right? It's like, are you 100% sure you want me to put this out? Because I knew, obviously, the things that he was saying were going to get Capcom's attention, going to get the world's attention. And whilst it was an exciting interview to have, I also couldn't have foreseen how much attention it got, which it did. It got a lot. And his answer to the question was, yeah, absolutely. Because it was him who was fully in control. He came to say something and he said it. There was later some various interpreters perhaps talking to me about the actual words that were used in English, as you well know, and whether that was the correct interpretation and whether he'd been misrepresented. Like, I knew he hadn't, because there was no problem. Like, and I think I remember emailing his wife now, but she was often around. I don't think she was around at NCR. I don't remember seeing her there, but they became as a couple, they were just so magnificent and wonderful and lovely to be around, and she's really lovely as well. And I think they then went on and had kids and got married and all that stuff. I believe she was working for Red Bull at the time. But the fallout was pretty bad, I think, for him, because there was more and more of these invitational sort of events, you know, and also other stuff going on behind the scenes. I don't remember exactly, but you know, working with Capcom, I think, became a little bit difficult for a little while, until, you know, Capcom basically at some point realized that perhaps they should start listening. Perhaps they were the ones that weren't in the right. And I think now with Street Fighter 6, they would probably, you know, look back on that period and realize that they made a number of mistakes, you know. But he really was the people's champ, because he said things to be noticed, which was, you know, and he said them so that he would get noticed, and it worked, you know, at the time. The initial reaction, like I said, the initial reaction of Capcom was to push back, was to maybe make his life a little bit harder. But over the years, I think, you know, this was really important part of Capcom kind of waking up and realizing that they weren't doing a good enough job. Particularly as I think soon they have this was what, 2017? I think later you have the release of the Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Was it Infinite? I can't even remember the name because of the Infinity Stones. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite or something. But they messed that up too, you know, which was a real shame. But yeah, there's not a huge amount to say about it. Trying to think of other stuff. I don't think he ever, from my perspective, what I learnt and understood about him was, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. I don't think he ever regretted it. I think he's, in a way, probably proud of the fact that he stood up and said what needed to be said at the time. And then, you know, he went on to just be really good at the game and win Evo, and yeah, couldn't be happier for him. Thought it was fantastic, and a big moment, I suppose, for my channel. And, you know, good memory for me, definitely. It was so excited to interview him. I also interviewed Fudo Gamer B. This was all fun. I remember seeing Gamer B on videos online of Daigo and Gamer B when they first encountered each other in Street Fighter 4. Chris G I always loved talking to Chris G. Even though he used to at least come off as kind of stroppy and blaming this and that and having a lot of complaints about tournaments and stuff. He's just like a genius, right? He plays like all the different games and he's just so good. But love talking to him. I actually have one interview which is kind of like a big therapy session. It's kind of fun. And then Flo was amazing to talk to as well. R.I.P. Flo. But I'm so happy that I got that interview. Of course, I'm so happy to have had that experience now. But that was like NCR. Oh, 801 Strider was there. I did a lot of work. I was working hard. Samurai and Strider was always great as well. Strider is like one of these like talking sense kind of guys, you know, like a normal human being when you're surrounded by madness, which is what it can feel like sometimes when you're at fighting game tournaments. You know, everyone's a little crazy, but Strider's just kind of like a regular guy, a fun, interesting, regular guy. But yeah, and then this is another tournament, and I'll come down to this. This was fun, like interviewing a streamer. He was more of a streamer back then. That's what he was first known for, and it was fun to talk to somebody who can talk, who could talk. You know, so really, that's the type of guy where you only need one question, and then he'll just fill out the rest. Anyway, hope you guys doing well. I'm pretty happy with the consistency of video uploads, whether you like it or not. But I'll see you in the next video.